5 years ago, I shared my very first project on Scratch on October 20th, 2017. Days before I share another project from October 21st and October 28th. Then the next month, after I confirmed my email to Scratch on the other way, before sharing them in the public on November 3rd, 2017. But to be honest, I don't even know what to say for some point of all. Well, I guess this project that I shared to Scratch from 2017 was not the first stuff that I shared. That's right, my very first stuff that I made was not published on the internet, and for the first video that I made was never been published as well. But you could see some of my old stuff for later on. Anyway, I wanted to specialize the occasion and figured what will be a better way to tell a story of how I discovered internet experience and some kinds of stuff on the internet, and how I made the first one. It's kind of a pretty weird story but I still have some memories that I have to remember clearly. I think it's all started around 2006, 2007, or 2008. I don't remember exactly. But the reason why I have discovered all these things around that time it's because it all started when I started playing the first game on the computer. I don't remember if I was discovering toys and movies, cartoons from Disney, Warner Bros, or maybe 20th Century Fox films, or whatever. Eventually one day, I think of it to myself that I wanted to do is play a digital video game. As per usual, I immediately searched for the rooms with a computer or a laptop when they were preferred as Windows XP, and went into the start menu to find a game or demo that I wanted to play offline. And the game I played? Bejeweled 2. Didn't expect that one coming. That's right, Bejeweled 2 is the main reason why I become an internet experiencer. Because how did that happen? Well, let me tell you the story. Many years ago, I can still discover the game that was called Bejeweled 2 until I learned how I discovered them in the puzzle version of it. What it do first is we need a swap gems to make it 3 in each or more for the special gems. Prior to the learning skills about my game, I was indistinguishably remembering being an idiot I am, thinking of myself,
finally, I know what the real Bejeweled 2 game is like.
Anyway, I began playing this game in Bejeweled 2 in puzzle mode, until I eventually got stuck to near the level, unable to find any help in the PopCat manual, especially finding some related Tom and Jerry episodes. Prior to that, I decided to look up a solution using a new and exciting method, YouTube. After I eventually find the episode of Talking Tom ate Paul Pool, I finally found the walkthrough to go past through the level. But many months before we went to Germany, I decided to look upon some what they reviewed about the game, some kids cartoons, logos, 20th Century Fox, and other kinds of stuff, until I've notably stopped by the video that I've seen in the recommendation with this recolored thumbnail and the weird title, something called YouTube Poop. Curious, I clicked on the video and my life changes forever. But unfortunately, I can't even find other YouTube Poops related content anymore. But I remember a few things about it. I remember when Elmo asked the audience that they used the toilet for the potty, and the Mario likes no, and other characters says no, but till Link says yes, and knows that he was lying and knows his secrets. And eventually that Elmo confessed that he peed on King's floors, and the king forces him to clean them up, or else he will die. Particularly his king's orders. Then there was a funny ending where Elmo just pooped the floor when those two were singing accidents. I don't know what it was. And when he does saying, haha, the George was you must die, then shoots him off screen. After watching this YTP, I was confused and amused, and then surreptitiously looked upon some of those questionable YouTube Poops videos. During the time, I've been watching some of those YTPs deeper in the recommendation and looked deeper and deeper until I eventually saw this. The video that I've seen for quite a long time, it was called YouTube Poop, The King Gets a Car. And it was still visible on YouTube since it was still here since around 13 years ago, I think, probably. And it was like January 17th, 2019. And some of you guys can still watch this quite lately, since one of you guys can remember this back in 2009 or early 2010s, I think. According to that, some of these videos in particular introduce us to the wonderful world of CDI YouTube poops. And for the next year, we would pretty much only use YouTube to watch some of these YTPs and CDI videos for sure, as long as they're quite good actually, the same particulars from the relative contents of YTPs and so on. But there might be more for it for the next one, which I'll be explaining it with my high intelligence. One evening after school when I was in first grade, I've been watching YTP videos as usual for quite a long time. I found one of the most notable relative video in this recommendation in the inverted version of it, the thumbnail. It was called Hotel Mario in G Major, but in square version of it. Prior to my curiosity, I clicked it and listened to what it sounds like in the video. It eventually sounds like the voices were more scarier than I thought it was. It sounds like some of the aliens were crowded and started reading the lyrics. It was a script, I think, probably, to like synchronize the videos between the vocal and the animation, in the effects version though. But unfortunately, I cannot even want to watch some like weird videos from when my parents finds out, since it might be a bad idea. So I just want to do some watch some YTPs instead, or some kids cartoons and some newer things, etc. When it was safer in that time for children around general. Not weird videos though. Around that time when I was in Germany elementary school, I started doing some playtime on the computer after finishing learning some things like stories, math and spelling, and other kinds of stuff. I began the second chapter of my internet experiences to play a new and exciting game in the start menu that it was called Roblox. Due to my constant curiosity, I started clicking it to experience of what it was. And yes, Roblox is the second reason why I might become the person under the name Roblox 75,000 in the future. Anyway, I began my secondary journey of playing this online gaming platform for the first time as usual, and then played it at home, looking at some of the best experience that I would like to play, like zombies, disasters, or other kinds of stuff before investigating one of these things which it's going to be in the future, but we'll get into that later. The only game I usually play the most is like Build to Survive the Zombies, Crosswords, and other kinds of relative content. Then I have to experience some of these new things back then, besides Roblox and YTPs that I was recently watching though, and so on. Because it's kinda difficult to what I'm about to say about those things, of how I discovered internet experiences and so on. I remember being quite sometimes before looking back at some weird things from the internet around 2013 or mid 2013. Like last time, I remembered seeing this video in this recommendation with a specific odd thumbnail. The thumbnail consists of the king being adjusted full on in the disc lightning effect, and the title was called Jonathan Swift Returns from the Dead to Eat the Cheese Sandwich, and it was an odd edition of the Wand of Gollum. But thanks to the improvements by YouTube, since still discovered that it was made consist of YTP and CDI, the recommended videos were filled with other CDI videos and YTP's videos. Naturally, the first one was Dinner Blaster, so I curiously hooked it up immediately. Then eventually I found other CDI and YTP stuff from people like The Mysterious Pirates, Ash House Wears 445, Pig Hunter 4, Red King 920, Clicoton, Mad Anonymous, and so on. Eventually I shared this video to my brother of how notable it was. Then in May 2013, when we moved back into the United States and find a new house in June or July, right before my 8th birthday, I got my computer from my dad into my own, and started focusing on cartoons and games instead of looking at some YTPs and CDI stuff. Until around March 2014, I was playing the game on Roblox and looked so familiar that it was called Acid Escape, until eventually I noticed that I clicked on something that took pictures of it and the fact I screenshotted it, and it saves it into the folder. Prior to that matter, this is one of my very first Roblox screenshots that I've surreptitiously captured in it, and it's not so bad at all well. Mainly, it's actually the screenshot that I've taken lately, while usually I was a guest still on Roblox. And it was so easy to screenshot them on Roblox of which places you wanted to capture, how it improves much better, unlike other games that never developed well properly. And then I remembered things around late 2014. I noticed that my little brother was watching a similar video that was called Super Mario 64 Bloopers, who let the chomp out. And the animation of this SM64 bloopers was pretty accurate. It has some eye expressions, and this video was a mixed up animation between SM64, Gmod, etc, etc. And it was much more heroic when the most ironic scene of Mario saying, "I am so sick of your shit," then he grabs a bomb and strike and hit a target of the Chomper. Chomper said he wants to be his friend, and SM64 tries to comfort, but then Mario just don't give a hell. So then Chomper just blew away in the ending. What a surprise! Until propitiously around July 6, 2015, after I discovered the game of Minecraft, More YT Please, Simply TF2, and other related videos I have recently watched, I've begun my career in digital drawing, as I've watched several of that with speed paints from most ironically many people. The first thing I drew is myself in real life in a cartoon, giving it a good evil look of a smile, and it was the first digital art I've ever created. Priorly to that, I've noticed that I've fulfilled a thing that I've usually wanted to draw on the computer. I started having much fun time drawing these figures in pixel version using the most notable softwares, MS Paint. MS Paint is a Microsoft painting software editor that it can basically to draw any kinds of arts or doodles in software and so on. And it was first released around November 1985, right after Windows was born. Anyway, over time I persistently drawn much more and more arts on the computer like Minecraft, My Little Pony, and my own. Then quickly find much more techniques to draw that figure much better, giving it much detail and avoiding gaps in it. The second technique is that I tried out right-clicking to engage the eraser, cloning the attached any colors without colorizing the different colors, and learn how blending works, masking, and so on. I continued doing the same thing on the computer over and over until I eventually did less around 2016 and were focusing on around the random stuff as usual on the computer. Then in 2016, when I was 10 or 11 years old, I stopped doing some digital drawings on the electronics. It's because I was in a lack of drawing skills and lost plans of creating a new one. And then continued my experience by looking upon some of these weird videos throughout this daily days. Suddenly around mid-2016, I think, my parents had essentially enlisted me and signed me up for a summer camp school and learned some of those easiest things that we could discovering of what it was. And the most ironic part about this, that while I was reading some of those children's books, I can hear some of this familiar melodic piano music of a sound of distant fields and Shimoko and Mary, two ballerinas, all the music's made by Gary Lamb in the album of All Walk in the Garden. Then secondly, I went to the art class that consists of arts of SpongeBob SquarePants, who is fancy, talentless, beautiful, and handsome. With that, I and my little classmates paint and drew and had much fun and invented what it was, like animals, props, peoples, societies, you name it. Well, during a summer camp school, I think, the school teachers announced that we were going to have a swimming pool this summer for a great field trip and a big surprise. Plus, we need to learn how to swim, how to float, how to jump, how diving into the pool, and so on. Anyway, I've started to go back to what I can draw once again on the computer, to going back on experiencing some new things, or the same things once and for all. But until around late 2016, I still have some of those the memories back into the old days, including the smart remixes part, but we'll get into that topic for later in the following video. In any case, I spent the whole day looking at some videos and such until I eventually found a very weird video trailer that it was called an American Tail trailer in the title, just like in the naming and my experiences, which just may look like a YTB version of it. It may consist some like video gaming recordings, but I can't even remember of what it was. And a scene that had like minor editings and trim on each scene from an American Tail, and it looks like a 2 or 3 minute long video trailer. But until right now, I can't even find these typical YTP videos anymore. Then mainly I've started looking at some of those relative and unnecessary videos for sure, and less playing video games because I feel like I have a thing about some electronics and other kinds of things from the internet experiences, to be honest. Though, subsequently when 2017 had arrived, and ahead of January 20th, 2017, my brother had the curiosity to play Minecraft and Xbox for quite a long time, like building a house, farming, mining through caves, etc. Until one day, I, along with my little brother, distinctly decided to pretend that we were making a video of Minecraft gaming by recording this video with my tablet for around 14 minutes and 7 seconds. With that, we started off doing some skyblock survival on Xbox. My brother first accumulating woods from the tree, and me doing some cobblestone generator to create more space in skyblock whenever we had enough stone to collect. While playing this game, our parents just called us to come here if we were having dinner or movies or whatever before I ended this recordings. I don't comprehend how I recorded this ridiculously, but I'll just let it ride and so on. So let's just move on. And a month after that, I had an idea to make a 25x25 cubes of TNT in the Minecraft PC, and then whenever I ignited the TNT before blowing everything up, it literally lags in around 0.001 frames per second, and it was so long. But not just because my computer is running slow, it is because the TNT has been exploding to each other and it interacts too many without inputs or outputs, or I don't know how it literally lags when I've ignited them. But until I move the camera away, I can still hear the sound of the TNT and a observation of TNT blowing and flowing away while exploding, but with graphics in it, whenever it since the TNT had instabilities or something before it lasted for around 2 or 3 minutes, I don't know. But for addressing this matter, this is particularly the case of Minecraft experiences that I've ever endured since ages ago. And it depends that it was really great, but as always, still need to move on. Since April 2017, I had the highly passionate and courage to spend the whole day on playing Roblox due to various benefits. And I'm pretty glad that I have my own account with a real name but with some useless acronyms I put in here. I had so much fun how I am pretty successful in playing any types of games I usually played in Flood Escape, Giant Survival, Work on the Pizza, Survive the Disaster, and so on. Mostly I continued playing this game a lot, usually, before it lasted around April to July 2017 before continuing it once again. Suddenly around May or June 2017, I then started watching some of those talentless Gwen videos on YouTube but using Xbox, where people ground them for a big amount of time when it's just a series, which was pretty obvious by now. Until I have notably seen this video in a recommendation with a similar thumbnail of the characters, including a robot and other characters, cartoons, wearing swimsuits being so pissed at the antagonist Evil Scratch Cat in TGS version of it. So then I started to hook this one up also immediately. And after that, I first involved a group of Scratch characters were going on a vacation to Great Wolf Lodge, until all of a sudden Evil Scratch Cat, who had intentionally misbehaved in the hotel by killing one of the innocent guests in the way, announcing for false alarm / hoax when they were trying to prank someone, noticed that there's a piranha or a shark in the pool. Even going as far as to bang the ski ball in frustration that has caused the machine to fire and literally destroy the hotel, and it needs to be demolished. And then back in the bus, everybody including Robot were still wearing a swimsuit and they were so angry thanks to him from his purposeful responsibility. And a giraffe and a peacock banned him from Scratch for all eternity and beyond, which according to that they banned him for the rest of his natural boring life, and the video ends. But prior to addressing the things about this video I've watched lately, this is the next following reason why I've becoming an internet experiencer and a person under the name Roblox and CDI, as I said once again. But right now I don't want to make this too long since this might make you feel bored, so let's just move on, shall we? Anyway, until that one fateful day, all the employees and other assistants has to pack all the stuff and make our house spotless after the 4th of July party, because they were moving onto the new house, which was far from the right end of the state called Michigan. So we eventually moved into a newer place where we can see the ocean on the far right side of Michigan between Canada, and this is where we can move here and right now. One day I then playing the games and drew some arts in my old laptop before it may potentially die out completely, and able to charge this properly before going into Wine.city or buying or exploring some newer things that came from Wine. Or something. Until around late September passed from my 20th birthday, which is my 20th birthday from July 23rd after we moved here, and the day after my first month of my middle school in 7th grade, I and my parents finally brought my own PC back with a new monitor. Now I just have to help my parents to get some of these cords plugged into the PC before plugging it into the monitor until we finally managed to do it, and so I finally started going back into the internet and imagined that some of these social medias had the new logo from other essential websites including YouTube, DeviantArt, Scratch, you name it. Anyway, now that we went into the time of October 2017, I've learned how to use VideoPad to make videos and editings and stuff, and a deboot to like recording the windows and so on, and just a little bit of Scratch to create my first project on the internet. Until subsequently I initially made the first video that I incompetently made. However, there are still some major flaws on them, and then created some weird videos effects they were related to like Lego editings and so on. And then finally arrived to Scratch mainly. However, I still haven't got my email confirmed, but regardlessly, I've begun my journey to exist on the internet with the first appearance on Scratch, learning how to create my own characters on the screen, importing the text engines from other people that I usually followed, and making a slideshow to the backgrounds or slides, you name it. And the project that I haven't uploaded to Scratch until now. Yeah, I wasn't even free to share this project when it was locked at that time because I haven't confirmed my email before I'm free to share this project, and even posting a comment below on people's profiles, projects, etc. And this is the reason why I haven't been sharing this one yet. Another day later, I continued making several projects for quite a while. First, I created the second project called My EXE Looks, the questions, add yourselves, and remixing on people's projects as well. Until a week later, I remixed this monstrosity.
Nugget, biscuit, nugget, and a biscuit, nugget, biscuit, nugget, and a biscuit, nugget, biscuit, nugget, and a biscuit. Give it all in mashed potato, nugget, biscuit, nugget, and a biscuit, nugget.
And finally, I've successfully confirmed my email and shared my very first one. My first new project. And the rest is history. So I guess this is the end of the long story of how I discovered the internet experience complex and how I've become the person under the name Roblox and CDI. But to be honest, I don't know how to conclude this video for sure whenever I have prolonged this heretofore, so I have to list several main thoughts. 1. Bejeweled 2 is the only PopCap game I ever experienced lately. 2. YTB is a recommendation one that changes my life. 3. Roblox is the only game that I usually played when I was young, when I initially got used to this since a decade ago. 4. Scratch is the only website that I've usually witnessed in that time right after I first seen the Scratch animated video, when this website is the only friendly platform that involves basic codings and so on. Basically, the reason why I first appeared in this website before joining any social media websites that I'm interested in. Well, that's a wrap for this video. If you enjoyed it and understand the long story of how I discovered internet experiences complex and how I made the first project after becoming Roblox and CDI throughout this video, then be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you won't miss out. But to prevent missing out, please ensure to hit that bell between the subscribe button. Now before I conclude this, I would like to say massively is to thank you all, everyone, for everything, for supporting my channel and other social medias I've entered, and for giving me improvable and supportive feedbacks and suggestions to yours truly. Nowadays, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you having best day of the 5th year anniversary, and have a good day.